Leeds United's need for a goalkeeper is relatively well known at the moment. If you look through the last season or so, you had Elan Meslier either failing to catch a ball, or failing to make a save, or putting the ball into the back of his own net, or trying to catch it but dropping it directly at the feet of a striker. So we probably need a replacement number one goalkeeper, and I'm not entirely sure Carl Darlow does that, so we'll be looking elsewhere. And we've had a little bit of news surrounding who it is Leeds United are looking at. So in this video, I'm going to talk about Leeds United's reported interest in Nick Pope, some potential other goalkeepers we might be looking at, why Nick Pope is going to be on the move, and ultimately what I think should happen in that regard. Before I get into all that though, as always, the link to the Leeds Creator Cup is down below. If you live in or around Leeds and you're available on the 20th of July, it'd be fantastic if you could get a ticket, come along, watch your favourite creators play, and all in aid of Prostate Cancer UK. £7 for an adult, £3 for a kid. Come along, it's a good time. Also subscribe, because for every subscriber I've got on the 20th of July, I'll be donating an extra penny to Prostate Cancer UK, just to make sure a really good cause is well supported. Anyway, into the video. A little bit of an article came out earlier from the Daily Mail. Not the best of newspapers, but at points reasonably on track when it comes to transfer stuff, especially when you're able to sort of cross-reference rumours and all that kind of stuff. And it's looking like Leeds are eyeing a move for Newcastle goalkeeper Nick Pope as the Magpies renew interest in Burnley's £30 million rated James Trafford. Now, this means that the main sort of mechanism that would allow Nick Pope to be on the move is a move for James Trafford. Last season, in terms of the underlying numbers and expected goals against and chances conceded and all that kind of stuff, Leeds vastly outperformed Burnley, like by a relatively comfortable margin. However, if you have a quick look at the Championship standings, Burnley in 46 matches conceded only 16 times, and that is significantly because of James Trafford. Just going to have a quick look at his sort of underlying data and that kind of thing, so I can just sort of back my point up here. In terms of goals that he personally prevented last season, they would have conceded 12 more goals if he wasn't in net compared to when he was, at least according to sort of averaging and statistics and all that kind of thing. And Newcastle are in a position where they could really do with a sort of newer option over Nick Pope. They're looking into the future. They're looking to build, but build sustainably, because in terms of PSR, they're more likely to be screwed over by the traditional Big Six clubs because they've not got such a large commercial base yet. Being able to make smart signings like James Trafford and keep him for an extended period of time effectively means that they're sorted for a number one goalkeeper for at least a decade. However, if James Trafford is going, he will want to play a fairly significant amount of football, and that means that you'll need a new number one, which means the old number one kind of shifts out. Old number one being Nick Pope. Interesting how he was goalkeeper at Newcastle, as was Carl Darlow, and now we're having a look at Nick. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of people are very, very convinced on Nick Pope, and this is where I'm going to have to be a little bit hush hush, right? I don't fancy him that much. On the underlying numbers, in terms of like goals that he prevented Newcastle from conceding last season, he only like stopped them from letting in something along the lines of, it's not showing me. Oh, good. Give me a second. This is where these sort of like rambly chats are a little bit harder to do. One moment. Never mind, I've found it. So, compared to the goals that they should have conceded, Newcastle, when Nick Pope was in net, conceded about 1.5 goals fewer than they should have. So, in terms of goalkeeping, he was a net positive. However, he wasn't comfortably a net positive. And when it comes to his sort of methods of distribution, he's someone that likes to kick it long, and his passing isn't fantastic. And for me, there are two elements to being a goalkeeper. There is the with your feet and there's with your hands. And you can pay off one if the other is excellent. So in the specific case of Nick Pope, your payoff would be the fact that he's not very good with his feet, but you would want his shot stopping to be impeccable. especially in the system that Daniel Farke plays, which is fairly reliant on using the goalkeeper, and when not using the goalkeeper, things look a little bit uncomfortable towards the back of the pitch. In terms of other players that we've been looking at, because I'm not super tempted by Nick Pope, I'll be completely honest about that, and a lot of people will tend to give me stick for that, as they have in my comments recently, but I like Petrovic. At Strasbourg last season, potentially at Chelsea next season, but maybe looking for a move because he has nailed down both the shot-stopping side of things, because his goals versus expected goals against, genuinely fantastic, excellent shot stopper, and very good with his feet. If you're not getting that, then you want someone who maybe isn't as good with their feet but does the shot stopping incredibly well. Finn Dackman is the perfect example of that. He's someone that plays it relatively long, at least at Augsburg, but his expected goals against compared to his goals conceded was ridiculous. He every single game did something like save a third more of a goal than he should. So every 3 matches, he's saving you a goal over what you should concede. Very, very, very good player. And this is where I think it's wise for Leeds United to do what we tend to not look at when we're fans. Because as fans, we tend to say, well, I recognise this person. They play in England. I watch football in England. They are probably good. That's why we're having the conversation about Pope. I think it's why we're having the conversation about Ramsdale, about Michael Cooper. The issue that I've got is that if we only keep an eye on English talents, English goalkeepers, we're limiting ourselves. And the Petrovic's of the world and the Dachmans of the world, and last season, Nottingham Forest signing Matt Sells was a ridiculous deal. But that's because they looked outside the usual scope. So whilst Nick Pope isn't necessarily a bad signing, yes, he could be all right because he's the sort of goalkeeper that you can get some reasonably consistent performances out of. Won't do anything spectacular, but at the same time, he's not going to make a horror of a mistake for you. That will be fine. But what I really, really want to see from Leeds United this summer and going forwards is a little bit more creativity, because people will also point towards like the homegrown quota that only applies to people that have played in the nation. You only need 8 players in the entire squad that played for 3 years under the age of 21 in, I believe, the United Kingdom, maybe in FA affiliated clubs. That's easy to do. You do not need an English goalkeeper to do that, which is why I think limiting ourselves to Pope would be a mistake. And whilst there is clearly very solid interest and there's a very solid idea of maybe he's someone that would be very good to have on our side, I want us to do better. And I really hope we do. And I really get a feeling that we'll start getting movement in the next few days. So I'm very excited for that. I'm also excited to see what you guys have to think. Let me know in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and even become a channel member if you're not. It's $2.99 for a month, and you get all the videos like this for free, not for free, in advance. I'm so tired. I've been in the last, let's do some maths. In the last like 40 hours, I've had like 3 hours of sleep. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you later. Probably on the live. I'll find out. Ta-ra.